When it comes to our lovely true love, it is from the functional adult that you will find it. And that is because a functional adult is using their prefrontal cortex when they are, thank you, lovely Terriel, having a conversation with you. It's because they don't have, FYI, childhood trauma charges active. And this is how I'm going to explain to you as a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul age group. As a teenager, I already was in the absence of childhood trauma charges, meaning that I can process my emotions, not that I was absent from them. We all have our 0 1 year old attached panicky, our 3 to 7 shame submissive, freeze of all ages, flight 11 12, and fight 14 15 16. Thank you to my lovely teacher Sue Martin from my course with Dr. Albert Wong, one of them, on Somatopia. And it's a trauma certificate course that I have had the honor of taking. And there's another one that I'm finishing up. And that's only one out of the many courses that, as a self help and life coach and a mystic, so with the lovely Reiki and Akashic record readings and tarot card readings, I support guidance for the individuals who are on a actual spiritually awakening journey. Actually, because even here we have functional adults. They're on an actually, they're using their prefrontal cortex. Otherwise, the safety behavior that stems from the brainstem, the adaptive child. So we're going to get to that in a minute. But as I said, true love, no one can put it in a box, but love is when you have the oxytocin gene hormone on. So unless you're a flat earther who says, I found it hard to believe in the first 3 years of life, okay, then the flat earthers, I know you don't necessarily believe, but what I'm saying is if you don't believe in attachment trauma, you might want to go somewhere else. And I am pseudoscience lady and the woo-woo spiritual lady because there are those who think that that means it's not something helpful, meaning the ones who have used it. And that is constructive criticism. Well, it's constructive because I'm like, you know what it is? I'm woo-woo because I know that not everybody's a mystic. So that's fair and square. It is pseudoscience. I'm not the researcher in the lab. I'm using those who have done the research and are therapists and are the experts. So technically, and I'm a mystic, so I'm integrating spirituality, and human element. So yeah, it's all fair and square. This is why it's constructive. So you can know that it's helpful to those who know how to do emotions though. And that's why true love. It means you know, unlike 4D, that you are here to embody the pure consciousness of unconditional love. Thank you to our lovely Sadhguru for his quote of the day. Love, it is not something that you do. It is something that you can become. Yes, very true. And here's the thing. The 4D and 3D, they do this. They learn to play the game of love and protect themselves. We do something different. True lovers, we take a leap of faith. And then with that leap of faith, we trust the great mystery of the depths of the unknown. And then what else? Oh, we use our mind wisely. Yeah. So functional adults know how to talk all the time, not just sometimes, which is why when we see this, being well is fucking boring in my opinion, but well done for being able to be yourself and heal. And in case you're triggered, like, wow, you're talking to a person who's still working to heal their narcissism, and you actively want them to just start by knowing that you think being well is fucking boring. Interesting. Wonder about that one. But, again, some people, they're not ready because it is very painful. So let's leave the ones alone who don't know that there is no evil or demon inside of them or anywhere elsewhere. I'm a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group. Jesus told me all about how to handle human suffering. Maria, open heart, check. Maria, open mind, check again. Maria, humbleness, check. Brothers, sisters, check. Forgive, check. Remember, like Pacha tells Cusco, you all have a heart, because I know if I poked you, so okay, I'm adding stuff, but God told me about being humble too, and to treat you the way I want to be treated. So I learned. Also, I like this thing called integrity. So the ones of us who do our moral basic principles are not our beliefs or religious, political. No, it's I will treat you decently because that's a decent thing to do. And I'm not a liar. I like to love all the time. Enlightenment. Some of us choose the path of love and we consistently bring more. Also, Akash and pure consciousness are unconditional love. and pure energy. Prakriti, pure energy. Akash Purusha. Prakriti is your 3-year-old. I have Gui Ui Ui 3-year-old. That's why my body is aging by the minute, but my energy, it keeps on getting more and more high. Okay, so yeah, true love, again, it is always on a rise, and the way we support each other is also on a rise. In fact, let us be grateful to the people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. Thank you, Marcel Proust. And with that being said, a functional adult, that behavior is a person who uses their prefrontal cortex. So they share with you this. You know, what happened yesterday, I actually have a story for you because it makes me feel this way. I know it's a subjective experience, but I'm still pretty much upset about it. And I really want us to talk about it. It would mean the world to me because that would mean that we can stay expanding together. And if that doesn't happen, because the adaptive child, they don't do this. So when you do as a functional adult, what happens is this. They actively make it about, I'm going to prove I'm right because you just made what I'm going to be reactive with, that childhood trauma, remember? Okay, so let me share with you. As our lovely Patrick Tiahan, he provides us with some really great insight. People who have childhood trauma, they don't actively know that childhood trauma can be defined as an abuse of perception in children and lack of connection with healthy caregivers. A healthy caregiver isn't just a caregiver. A safe haven, secure base, which is what a functional adult is a person who has no pebbles in the stone of my feet. And so that means that I don't filter my mouth. With integrity, I say, honestly, this is who I am as a 3-year-old, and you will not be able to shame me because I have none. That's a whole self, 1-year-old, so I'm not looking for thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm a functional adult. I shared with you my subjective, differentiated self, thoughts, and emotions, and now I'm waiting for your response. That's all, so that we can continue our tango. The adaptive child will not be doing that. They will be doing actively something different. Because if they do not have their trauma charges, so their emotions, they're 14-month-old, they're 1-year-old, and then they're 3-year-old, and know that the first 3 years of life are completely, they matter, and then the 3 to 16 matter too. And that by the time you're an adolescent, your social system, did you become the integrity of you, or did you become what did you choose? How did you choose to begin to conduct yourself as a human being who became an adolescent, who now is no longer looking at your attachment figures, the 5 main figures, whoever they may be from your home? That's your unconscious, FYI. So you're 0 to 8. And now you're looking to your peers with your social system, and this is stuff that any one of you wants, where I learned it from, I'm glad to share. Now you have social system. I learned as 11 to 14. I do not fear inadequacy. You do not follow the path of God or Jesus. In fact, the one thing I learned was not to cast a stone. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I will not use good or bad at all, because that was with intent that I would say good and bad. You do drugs, bad. You don't, good. And then I realized that that was casting a stone. I said, I'm sorry. I won't do it anymore. Anarchy. And that's where I do stand. I stand with, I'm going to go vote and do things, and I'm not afraid of people. The only people who mistrust humans are misanthropists. I'm not one of those. I actively trust myself and humanity. There's no ill will in the functional adult who has a restorative embodiment, self-aware life. This is where you are at if you're in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, or you can get here. Motivation is just, being able to stand up and say, I am proud to be myself. I'm a member of my herd. I live true spirituality and what is a mammalian heritage. It's actually not something special. It's not even a gift. Technically, if you ask Stephen Porges, he's still doing the analysis and his data research. So he's trying to prove the polyvagal theory, which I can't wait for him to prove. He also is going to write a book with his love, well, it is his love, with his wife, about love and how it's not what the adaptive child behavior people do. Yeah, that's push and pull, and it's visceral. No, love is when you are in a body that is securely attached, which is why the functional adults know true love, and then they also know how to be life partners. Because we don't turn our back on you and abuse or abandon or do any. So we don't talk shit about you. We won't do any of that backstabbing stuff, because Pacha doesn't do what Cusco does. He shook his hand and he meant it, and he says, I meant it. So unconditional love, which is what you all are, if you get home to yourself, that is, if you want. I don't want to do personal development. I think it's crap. I want laundry like the Zen master told me I have. Bye. Go over there, human suffering people. That's not true love. It's human suffering love. That's all. True love is pure. It has no, I don't want anything from you, no expectations. It's your oxytocin gene hormone. So Stephen doesn't publish his book with his wife because the publisher said people won't like it. They believe love is all drama and stuff. And he's like, but that's not. I wish he would have written it. Maybe he'll change his mind. Okay, so when childhood trauma survivors do not acknowledge their own childhood trauma and they got pebbles in their shoes and whatnot, they're doing Cusco attitude all around. So they don't come into a conversation with wanting to talk. They're in their active childhood trauma charge. So here's what Patrick continues to say. And so trauma creates a problem of perception, a problem of perception with how you see yourself, how you see other people, how you perceive. He uses the words perceive. How you perceive the chain of events in a situation in the present moment. You think of it as how you will have. Yeah, I got lost. I got tongue-tied. Think of it as you tend to make sense of things or find meaning in the present, but based upon what happened to you in your past. And this is why it gets confusing to anyone who doesn't know trauma charges and who thinks it's a bunch of BS. It's because we want a tangible example, which he gives. So, example, you read your work email very quickly. Something came up, it was upsetting, or who knows, there's just something went wrong. You're like, oh no, everyone hates me. I made a mistake. I'm out, and then you go back later on in the day and you notice that the email wasn't even about you. So that is where that childhood trauma charge. So it's not trauma because of the event. It's also different when it's a trauma charge versus the fragmentation. And so this is why we're using a lot the word trauma, but there are differences with the trauma charge versus those who have rupture in a way that has created what will then be, for example, our disorganized attachment category group with dissociative identity disorder, or people who have dissociative disorders. There's different types. So borderline personality, for example, disorder. There's Dr. Daniel Fox. He gives a lot of support for that group and for narcissists as well. Really great support. Okay, so once you can understand a person is a person, but if they don't know how to be a functional adult, they won't know true love or life partnership. What they will do is not text you back after fucking you, for example. They will feel contempt and disgust towards you, women. By the way, this is a man who informed me of this online. And then shame. And apparently this man didn't mention anything about they can go to therapy and heal that. No, apparently I don't know if I'm supposed to say, oh no, they won't text me back, I shouldn't fuck men. Or if I should be more of, yeah, so the women, come on over. Make sure you know if they fuck you, they won't marry you necessarily. Don't think of wedding bells. No shit, Sherlock. How many women needed to hear you say that? Well, apparently a buttload, because they all giggled while I'm thinking, I want to shake the hand of the man who has that kind of integrity. At least he's honest enough to share that his moral principles is basically objectifying you so that he can use you. And then I could do this. Hey, I'm just wondering. Let me pick your brain for a minute. If I said yes to this thing that you are completely making into, it's not even as fun. You know what? I don't like gymnastics though, so I don't like running. I don't like to have my sympathetic anywhere near me unless I actively need to run away from a tiger. So there's that. But hey, I'm just wondering, are you going to feel contempt, disgust for me? Wouldn't that be funny? No, no, it wouldn't actually. But it's funny to share because seriously, I'm thinking, if I asked you, do you feel contempt, disgust, and shame right now towards me or you? Do you not notice that that might be you harboring some type of anger, resentment, deflection? Don't you know? You might need a good therapist, I think. I think a lot. Okay, so here's why I love Patrick. Patrick Tiahan, thank you so much. He says, hey, are you working on your childhood trauma? It would be a lot cooler if you did. I totally agree with you. So that's where self-work, healing, and healing journey. Patrick Tiahan, for any one of you who does want a childhood trauma therapist who has not only had the experience, he's really great at sharing with you what projection is so that you can understand why the first 3 years of your life do matter. And with that being said, since we have another couple episodes in our queue, again, a functional adult, they are able to stick around because they know how to use their prefrontal cortex. Their conversations are active, wanting to understand things, wanting to enjoy each other. And so, that being said, they don't do the let me make it all about myself. I'm right, you're wrong. Let me make sure to control this conversation. It has to go the way I want it to go. Let me make it again, even more about everything that has happened to me, why I'm right, why, and so let me continue to try and get you to agree with me or disagree or retaliation. Now that you haven't, I'm going to hurt you because you're hurting my feelings because you're not allowing me. So this is the part, there's no reasoning, and then I'm going to withdraw. So I might give you the silent treatment. I might stop and withhold sex, this withholding stuff. I heard about it. I was like, wow, that's funny. Because, it always makes me think of Criminal Minds. A functional adult is more like a person who will already have the capacity to not think of anyone withholding something on purpose as you get older. The spiteful stuff. Okay, so even if you have an adaptive child behavior, that is a pattern that they might not be aware of, because a person who doesn't know that they have childhood trauma, that they're playing push-pull, that is not a game, but that they are actively in a hypervigilant state, they're seeking a specific type of interaction. This is why self-awareness is key, self-accountability and regulation skills for all, but the therapist is what you want first. That is, if you notice that you're not growing more your relationships, which is why we're going to do a couple more episodes. So true love is when you do love. So as Stephen Porges with his wife, who we're going to write a book, and she's a science lady too on love, the only way you're going to experience true love is if you are in your oxytocin gene hormone, which only happens if you are in your social engagement system consistently. And then the whole fucking stuff has a biochemistry, but that is actively not of any interest to a person who has a body that knows what it means to be appreciated because you welcome me from here, because you welcome you from here. So you see me and you see you. You soothe me, you soothe you. Why? Because you're safe in here to be you, and you're safe with me, and you're secure. And that means you have healthy self-worth. Means you won't hide any part of you from you or from me. Means I don't hide any part of me from you or da-da-da. Gender in relationships, it's only when you're telling each other all of the feelings. That's where true love is at. See, a lot of people, they think true love looks like Cinderella and Prince, and then you got Venus, the goddess of May, and that man from Mars. So, to be continued. Those are for the people who won't move into the 5D collective, because I find it hard to believe that all this attachment trauma stuff is the real deal. Well, so sorry. We're all securely attached over here. We love well-being. And we love to keep on growing more of the restorative embodiment self-aware life that you all can do with a prefrontal cortex integrated brain is why you're using it. And so we're going to have some funny stories. But again, functional adults, they have a behavior that is what true love is made of, because they know how to tell you, here's what I noticed happened, here's how I felt about it, here's my story, here's my feelings, and I do have a way that we could work it out. I want to talk about it. And we'll not leave the room until we have achieved are all of the feelings, all of the stuff, it's all leveled out, meaning that we have agreed from here open-heartedly and here, and so you don't hide anything from your lovers. And that's for my polyamory and monoamory community. And lovers also involve our life partners for life that are also friends. We use words very interchangeably. We love a lot of things, and yes, some people, they like to be stingy with love. Some of us, we're not. And that's where the people who think that that means we don't love anything or anyone, they're the conditional ones. They're not yet connected to pure consciousness, the human way. The human way is infinite higher human consciousness potential. So our whole self as a differentiated self, you're a differentiated self. We say, I want more of you. I enjoy you. So like Marcel Proust, again, let us be grateful to the people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. And like the Rumi quote goes, we love not with our eyes. Those are the people who say goodbye. We love with our heart and soul, and we know no separation. Come on back over for some more 5D Mystic Enlightenment Soul Age Group Functional Adult Chit Chat. And if you want one-to-one consulting, or you want the masterclass to be put on a list, let me know. There are guidelines. I have not yet made a landing page. I will update you all. And for something light and to support the channel and me so that I can do more of this, we have Ask Maria Opinionated Columnist episodes. to me, that will be very great once we get to 1K on YouTube, because that's where I'm feeling it. And I'm feeling it because that way we get to create a community and interact. We also will have WhatsApp community, Telegram. So I have plans to connect with those of you who do eventually become a part of the membership and of the courses and all that great stuff. Again, emotions, it's not for everybody. Some people don't want to do them. I don't want to do personal development. It's crap. Yes, there's the Zen master. He's over there. It's with laundry. He does laundry stuff. We do emotional stuff. So have a great one. Like and share and subscribe if you know anyone who loves to do spiritual awakening and who loves to do inner growth and who loves to be a human, who has no chips on the shoulders or the back or anywhere, or no pebble to throw at you. They're more like, hey, I got this pebble in my foot. Can we chit chat? Remember, though, I'm 44. I had plenty of experiences. So now when I'm around, I'm just with Krishna Leela most of the time. And he steps in and we take anything not seriously, because I don't know when someone's joking or not. So the only people I can get into any kind of like debate with is my mother, who still gets my 3-year-old tone, and my twin. Yep, they're the two. They get the nasty tone because I haven't learned to be a functional adult with them yet. But that's because my dynamics, see, the past, it comes with me. It's not hurt though. It's just I'm a self. My name's Maria. I want it my way. And I'm still learning how to negotiate that my way with a different tone. And so are they, and so are we all. So again, tune back on in, and thank you for stopping by.